Hey heroes, welcome back. Matt and Ez here, our extended edition. This is our extended edition on the Shadow Rising Part 5, and it's kind of a different one. Sir Matt, we've decided to, so if you're listening to this, you're gonna definitely want to go to the YouTube channel and check out the video that we made for this. We're looking at a map, right? We're basically looking at, we have a really high definition map that Matt wants to kind of basically walk us through, up through the Eye of the World, the Great Hunt, the Dragon Reborn, the Shadow Rising. Where are we up to this point in the current reread? We might do these once in a great while. We might go back and do a more detailed version for the Eye of the World, but we thought you guys would like this. Sir Matt has a very high definition map that he's done some extra processing on, and it's really cool. I really like this.
Yeah, it's a really nice map. I'll zoom out here, and again, we're doing zoom screen share here, and so on my computer it might be really fast, and so I'll go kind of slow because it's got to go, use the internet to go through. But it's got a lot of really cool stuff here, so you get to see the whole kind of world. And then it's got some stuff down here about the individual cities and stuff like that. And so what I did is I have this kind of program that allows me to sort of use artificial intelligence and upscale it. And so when I zoom really far in, it's a crisp thing. So I took like a 4K image and upscaled it to like 8K. And so it's pretty sweet, actually.
Oh, it's sick.
It's
zoom in.
It's super cool. It's super cool technology.
Yeah.
To be entirely honest. And so we're gonna start here, just Edmonds Field. I'll just show you guys. So this is the whole picture, right? And so we're gonna zoom way far in here, and you get to see just how kind of clear it is. I have the old picture actually, but that I don't need to. We'll just roll with this.
Cool. This is cool.
So here's where we start, right? Is Edmonds Field. I mean, that's where the whole thing starts. And I'll zoom out a little bit here. It's like some of these places that we've heard of, we haven't gone to. I'm assuming we'll go to at some point, way over here, like the Shan Chan, right? So this is where they come from. It's a whole, it's another kind of continent almost. Here's the ocean. Here's some of these seas. We've heard about, but I think it's interesting to look at a map because we haven't done that yet for the podcast. So I mean, here's where we start, right? Edmonds Field, right? Then we go to Bear Lawn. And then we kind of make our way over, right? We end up having to go through Shadar Logoth. And then boom, that's where we get kind of split up a little bit. And we actually have some tools here. We can kind of annotate this.
That's the, if you leave it. So what we'll do is here,
I won't touch it. Yeah.
Leave it where it's at.
This is our first time doing this. So just bear with us here for a second on some of these
we're
guys.
just kind of having fun with it, and it is spoiler-ish, just so everyone knows. I mean, we're again walking you all the way through, where we're at currently in the podcast. So if you're just starting up, we're gonna get well past the events of the Eye of the World. So definitely, when we reach that point, we get to the Great Hunt. Just click off and come back to it later if you want. So
okay, so that's kind of so we go from Edmonds Field to Bear Lawn. From Bear Lawn to Shadar Logoth. And then that's when we split up, right, Ez?
Yeah, one group will kind of go across the river, right? And they'll kind of start to head, I think it's north.
Towards White Bridge.
Yeah, exactly. You actually get, so they'll meet Baal Doman and they'll come all the way down, right? So Rand, Matt, and Tom, will come all the way down there on White Bridge, and then they'll start to cut across to Four Kings. And that's where, and then into Camelin.
Right. And so then our other group, they can be blue, I suppose. They actually kind of go
Shadar
different
Logoth.
route.
Yeah, so you have to go to Shadar Logoth, yeah. And that's where they're gonna, I think it's, if you just put them somewhere, I mean, in that grassy land there, they go north a little bit. And then we're gonna come across the Tinkers, and so this is Egwene and Perrin, who are eventually gonna be found by the White Cloaks. And Moraine and Land show up with Nynaeve, rescue them, and then we really lose track of them and their journey as we know they eventually, you can just draw an arrow to Camelin. We know they show up in Camelin.
Right.
we kind of follow the point of view of Matt and Rand.
Rand and everybody. Right. So then the whole group, which I guess we'll go back to red.
Here we go.
On.
But is there anything you can do like dash? Well, actually, drawing the arrows is great. Yeah, you can go back to red on that. And then now look at this freaking line. You're going to go from Camelin all the way up to Faldara, right?
Right.
I mean, jeez, cow.
Yeah, right up here, right? And so that's when we go through the ways, right? I mean, so you cut underneath, or whatever, through, I suppose, Tar Valon and all of that. And that's crazy to think about, right? Just the ways and just how quickly you can jump around, because once you get past the eye of the world, I mean, I remember we did a Patreon thing at one point where you and I were talking, and I was like, dude, I got to look at a map, because I'm like, what is going on here? And we're talking about the Sanchan coming over, and this is, Tanchico and Falma and all this stuff. And I'm like, hold on, man, are we going to get Tyr, where we're end up going down to an Ilion and just all this stuff. And so it's like, you really start jumping around. After here, I mean, here's setting Tofu, right? We're gonna end up going there and stuff like that. So, but this is pretty much the eye of the world, right? Right here, I suppose. So now, as we're gonna move into the Great Hunt, and the group, want me to erase all that? I suppose I can.
Yeah, that's fine, because it's going to go a little. Yeah, we can go ahead and erase it all. We'll kind of start fresh again here.
Okay. So we'll start with red. Now this is going to get kind of crazy, because now our group starts splitting up. But basically, we start kind of, and I think Tar Valon, right, is where we start Great Hunt.
Yeah. Well, actually, we're still in Faldara, and so it's
yeah.
Yep. So right there from Faldara, and this is where we have
Rand kind of ends up going his own way.
Yeah, he's going to go after the horn that they're chasing. Remember, the horn is stolen from Podon Fane. Yeah, by Podon Fane, and they will track the horn. So if you want, we're almost going to need two colors out the gate here. Egwene and Nynaeve will go with the Amerlin seat, and they're going to go back to Tar Valon, the White Tower, so we can take them.
Right, so that can be that. We'll just do red for this time, and then we'll make Rand. Well, you know what? Let's clear that. Let's make
keep the dragon. I know what you're doing.
Yeah. Let's make the girls green. All right. So the girls go to Tar Valon, the tower, and Rand. I think it's Rand. It's Rand, Matt, and Perrin. Rand, Matt, and Perrin, and then we end up going with like Ingtar and Huron and. And we're gonna go chase. So where do they end up going?
And so we're not gonna. There is a way in which, and we're not gonna do this for the purpose of this map. I've seen really good maps where they basically have them. They kind of count up whether they went south here, then they went west, and the zigzag or whatever. Basically, ultimately, the next big stepping point is Kyrian. Okay, so they're gonna ultimately chase that horn down until they get there. Right. And it's from there. There's the whole issue with Podon Fane is leading them on this chase. They get it back. They meet Selene, who we don't trust. We know that a lot of stuff happens in Tar Valon with the Egwene, Nynaeve,
the girls
meeting
That's
Elaine.
When they're going through the trials and stuff like that.
Yeah. And they are deceived, right, by the Black Aja, and actually led all the way over, I believe, to Tommen Head, right? We know that they end up over in
crazy. They almost go to like the other side of the of the map. Yeah,
exactly. And then they're betrayed. They think they're helping Rand, and there they go. Let's see. They meet up with let's go back to the red arrow, right? So we're with Varen Sedai shows up, and then you've got Tom Merlin and everyone. We're chasing the horn there. We come across some Dark Friends, the Illuminators, all sorts of stuff, right? We eventually have to take the Portal Stones. The Portal Stones become a big deal. So we've been traveling through the ways. These big jumps have happened in the ways. And then we're going to come across the Portal Stone, and Rand is going to, along the way, that first red arrow really is where he discovers the first Portal Stone and uses it to goes into this world of what if, or maybe a parallel world with Celine, and he will go back to that and kind of use it again. Well, let me think here. Eventually, yeah, there's some other stuff that happens where they try to find a waygate in Kyrian, and some stuff goes down there. But ultimately, they're going to take that portal stone, and they themselves are going to shoot over to Tarmon Head. And we do have a little situation where Moraine is off doing her thing. This is the book where Moraine kind of disappears, and Varen is with our group for quite a bit. But we're trying to keep this short. And so ultimately everything will kind of go down there in Falma. We do follow the White Cloaks a little bit as well. We learn about them and where they're moving. And we come across them actually there on Almoth Plain, Tarmon Head, near Falma. And a big battle happens. And, buddy, that is where, Inktar makes his, House Shinoa stand, right? And it's he's a dark friend who comes back. Again, major spoilers.
Right. But again, remember we're dealing with the Shan Chan, so I'm gonna my arrows are gonna move here really quick. But remember the Shan Chan are way over here, right? So
yes.
Yeah, so we can kind of get that back there. But yeah, so that's basically kind of, like where we're dealing. So they're on that other continent and they're sailing over.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So they're kind of invading there. So that's probably good for
the Great Hunt.
Yeah. And I guess we can move into the Dragon Reborn here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So where does the Dragon Reborn start? Is it still it's the fallout from technically I think it starts with the Min chapter, and we're back at the White Tower. And then when it picks up, I'm trying to remember, is it Falma's where we start and then we move out from there and everyone kind of goes, because this is the book where Rand's just kind of off doing his own thing. And I could almost just draw an arrow for Rand that's just straight to kind of
tier. Well,
that's pretty much that's pretty much it for Rand in this book.
Yeah. And actually, we can kind of Rand, the whole thing is his journey. And again, here's a great resource for folks too. Ice and Fire. Let me go back. It's the Atlas of Ice and Fire blog. Great stuff for Game of Thrones.
I think it's Adam Whitehead, isn't it?
Adam Whitehead does a really good job. And this is where I'm saying we could kind of do a more detailed version, but essentially, yes, it's traversing all the way down through the Mountains of Mist. So it does pick up over in from Falma, and then we're going to move over into the Mountains of Mist. They're going to move directly. So from Falma, if you want to move that, draw a line, I guess, from Falma over to the Mountains of Mist, just north of maybe Barillon. I'm trying to remember here, trying to recall.
Oh yeah.
But
ultimately, Rand basically just goes to Tyr, right?
Except for it would basically bend up around the Mountains of Mist, cut across a lot of this other land here. But no, you can go ahead and do that. That's essentially we're going to track him across
a quick way, right? Because every time you meet up with him, it's like through store. It's like here he is at a campfire and stuff like that. So, a lot more of the Dragon Reborn is kind of other people's stories. So, now if we want to cut back to some of these other characters, Matt, he ends up going all the way back to Tar Valon and getting kind of healed.
Yes, he does. Yep. Yeah, so we can pick a color for him because he'll go with Egwene.
Matt can be yellow.
And Nynaeve. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Matt can be yellow. So Matt ends up going from there to there.
Right.
And then let's just maybe stick with him, and then we'll come back to some of these other characters because it branches out a lot in this. So Matt ends up going to Tar Valon. He ends up getting healed. He wants to leave. He kind of gets that letter, right? That gives him some authority to kind of do some things. He ends up running back into Tom, Maryland.
Right.
And he will ultimately also end up in Tyr. But along the way, doesn't he? He stops in Caemlyn, right?
Yeah, so that's his big stop is Caemlyn. And then from there, draw another arrow. Yeah, just going down to Tyr. Yep. And so that's kind of his path. So that's good. That's good. And actually, separate of him, so that's Matt. The girls, again, they went with him to the White Tower. They left ahead of him to hunt down the Black Aja. They also will end up in Tyr. So, if you want to put them back in green and then, straight down, sure. And so, Yeah, because he was kind of going there to deliver that letter for Elaine, and comes across some interesting stuff happening in Camelin.
Right.
Yeah. Now the other party that we have that we're tracking, and actually where those arrows are going. You see how they went? You went from Falma all the way over to the White Tower through the Mountains of Mist. That's actually where the party first starts. So I know we have Rand's arrow going straight to Tyr, but he does kind of go again north there. So from just around that area, they eventually will then shoot all the way to Tyr as well. No, first they go to Ilion. Don't they? In the Dragon Reborn, and that's where Moraine is,
which is just right here. It's right here. Yeah.
Yep. And then from there, then they'll make their way over to Tyr. So if you wanted to do almost like an arrow from Falm, like a blue arrow, maybe like a blue arrow that for Moraine, Land, and Perrin, that'd be kind of cool.
From Falma to Ilion, then to Tyr.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yep. There we go. So yeah, it's kind of all over the place, because really Rand is with Moraine for a while, and he leaves after the earthquake. Early on in the book, he leaves, and we really just kind of see him in visions and the dream world and things like that. And it's Moraine and Lan and Perrin. Perrin coming across some Aiel, saving them, coming across Heroes of the Horn, and coming across Fael, and making their way down to Ilion. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and then it all ends in Tyr, which is where we will begin for
Shadow Rising.
Shadow Rising. Yeah, so everyone's in Tyr to start.
Yep.
The Shadow Rising, and again, this can only be up, I guess, to I suppose where I'm at in the books here, which is the most recent chapter. So, wow, it's kind of crazy. So let's start with Rand, I suppose, and because he's the the Dragon Reborn, so he gets to go first. So we're in Tyr for quite a bit with Rand, and eventually where we're at is we'll make it all the way over here to Rudion. But I don't think we really get much of him stopping anywhere else along the way.
No portal stones. I mean, so he finds a portal stone that will take him out to Alcair Dar, maybe is how you say it. Takes him right there. Yep, exactly. And
I'm just gonna put it here, and then we're in Rudion.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. I'm just trying to find.
And that includes Matt as well, because Matt goes with him.
Yes. Yeah. So Matt, Moraine, Land, you've got all the Aiel that showed up there as well too. They're doing their thing. Rand has sent reinforcements from Tyr up to Kyrian, so he did send he was talking to the nobles. So you get into kind of those subgroups but yeah. So the main group will go to Rudion. We know, trying to think, Shadow Rising. Yes. So then we're going to have Perrin, right? So I'm trying to, I don't want to go too far here, but like Perrin then
we'll make Perrin white.
Okay.
Perrin ultimately is going back to Edmund's Field.
Yeah. Yep. Back to the Two Rivers.
Perrin and Fael.
Yes. Yep. And I don't know if you know this exactly, but we're about to head there. Trying to figure out if so Elaine and Nynaeve. Just trying to remember where you're at. Do you remember where they go? Like necessarily?
They get on a ship.
Okay, and they're just on the ship, right? They're with the
right.
Yeah, so that's all. That's as far as they just have got on the ship. They're not. They haven't gotten off the ship yet, right?
No, but they will. But they will by our next thing. So
our next thing, yeah.
If you want to tell me where it is, I'll put it on the map.
Well, that's okay. I mean, they do. They go to. They're going to Tanchico, Tarabon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's where they're going.
Okay, they can be green. So they're going from Tyr. That's right. Okay. So,
but again, how they get there. There's better maps out there that kind of show like, yeah, there you go, like how they're going to track.
Man, they may make some stops along the way, but that's ultimately where they're going.
And that's really where we've got everybody up to in the Shadow Rising. So, yeah, some interesting stuff, because we're in part 5 for us, so we're about midway through the book, I think. I I think. And Shadow Rising is massive. It's a massive book. Lots to cover. So
it's either the biggest or the second biggest book. We talked about that. But so again, I think it's kind of cool to get get rid of my that
was a fun little trip down memory lane for me. I was trying to remember where does everybody go, where all the stops. Right. There's tons of
I think it's cool to it's good to look at a map because we get it, we've heard about a lot of these things, and to see the jumping that they're doing. Right. It's like, hey, we started over here in Edmonds Field. By the end of the first book, we're all the way up here in Fall Dara. And sometimes it's like, well, hold on a second, man. We just portal stones. You're just jumping all over the place.
Yes.
Around this, around this map, right? Some of these things we've heard of, and we've, gone to or whatever, made a stop in, setting Tofu, setting Shanghai. So here's some of these steadings. Just to kind of give you guys an idea. Tower of Genji, right? We've heard about that. You got White Bridge, Four Kings, Camelin. Then you can kind of see this is the kingdom of Andor, Gillidan, Kyrian, Shinar, to hear some of these things.
Yeah, and actually an interesting one. Go back up to Shinar and Fall Dara, right? So Malkier, right? Tarwin's Gap. That's actually a lot of the events that take place in Eye of the World are happening right there when Rand is kind of essentially
at the end.
Travels, faces down all of the Trollocs there, and this is Land's kingdom where he kind of his whole story comes from.
Right.
So
and you're just gonna see just how huge the Aiel Waste is, right? You're talking it's massive piece of land. It's probably maybe a half or just a little under, in between a third and a half of the size of, I guess, Randland, if you want to call it. It's big.
Yeah, and I don't really know, honestly, like how densely populated or whatever. There's still tons of Aiel there, right? But they're trying to cling water and shade, man. Wherever they can find water and shade, that's where they're gonna be. So. But this was neat though. I think this is our first kind of run through, just trying to use a map and pinpoint some stuff. We'll probably do maybe a little more detailed one for YouTube. And if you guys like these, let us know, because I like it. I like going through the map and kind of seeing where everyone is and where they go and trying to visualize that. It helps. A lot of times during the podcast, you'll hear us say, let's pull up a map. Matt will want to pull up a map and see where everyone's at.
This is the map I use.
Yeah.
I'm usually just on my tablet looking at it, but yeah.
Yeah. And some people might say, well, there are things on here that should we know where this is or that is?
Right.
We didn't show you the key for a good reason. We didn't show you the key just to keep it kind of less spoiler.
Right.
And still none of this stuff has necessarily spoiled anything for Matt. So we're good there. But yeah, it's cool. It is really cool, and I really like it, and hopefully we can do more of them and just kind of keep breaking it down, man. The way gates and portal stones are huge. That jump from Tyr back to the Two Rivers is a big deal with Perrin and Loyal and Fael, right? Bane, Chiad, and Gaul are going there as well, and they go with Loyal into a way gate, and that's how we get there. So it's really neat because Robert Jordan pushes us to accept yes, we can do this, and we can, we hear Egwene and Tyr thinking about going to see the Wise Ones, and we know they're in this place called the Aiel Waste, and it's super far away. Well, how the heck are we going to get there? We're going to spend the whole book
right.
No, we're not. We're going to spend less than a chapter going through the portal stone, Rand using the little fat man Angreal and channeling all this great power and taking us, into the waste. It's really cool. It's awesome. So
yeah, absolutely, guys.
All right. Well, friends, thanks so much. I hopefully you enjoyed this, and leave us a comment. And we missed a few things or what have you. If we got something wrong, let us know that. But hopefully we'll do more of these in the future. So thanks again, and as always, remember that the grave is no bar to our call.